Do you have an RV built on the Ford E450 chassis made after 1999 that makes a noise like this every time it hits 2100 RPM? If so, stay tuned, I got a fix for you. So before we start, I want to give credit where credit is due. I did not figure all of this stuff out. I did not figure out the model numbers and the details. Credit goes to Merritt Willett, which screen name Mini4MW, for the initial tracking down of the source of the noise and posting a video clip of his for what's actually causing it. And then credit to Bullet6283, don't know his real name, who tracked down the actual history of why this problem exists and the model numbers to fix it. So I'm going to be putting all those model numbers down in the description down below, and links to these threads in a couple different forums that help me track down all this information. And as far as we're aware, this does affect model years 1999 and beyond. Current years 2020, model years 2024, but I don't know if this will apply after that or not. So obviously can't tell the future. So anyway, credit where credit is due. Thank you, huge thank you to both of you guys and everybody else that helped track this down and provide the information to fix it. So I'm just going to try to put that all together in a way to help make it easier for anybody else with the problem to fix it themselves. So let's get started. I'll pop the hood. Let's dive in. All right, we've got the hood cracked open, so let's dive in and see what we find. We're looking over here on the driver's side, close to the dipstick is where we're looking. What we're going to look at is, if you look down here, straight through, see if I can get the focus. There we go. So this is the serpentine belt down here at the bottom. And if you look really closely, you'll see along the right in this shot edge of that belt, there's some black marks on the engine block itself. Now, I'll show you in a bit what's causing these black marks. So let's watch that clip real quick. So as you saw, when the engine hits 2100 RPM, this belt, it hits a resonant frequency. It starts shaking around, it vibrates and actually bumps into the engine. So that's what's leaving those black marks there, and that's what's causing the noise. Now you'll also see in this shot here, right above it, there's actually a threaded hole right there. And what that is the remaining mounting boss is what it's called, that they left the mounting for, but removed the idler pulley back in 1999 for whatever reason. I don't know, save a couple bucks, whatever. But this is now the longest stretch of the serpentine belt that is unsupported. So that's why it hits those resonant frequencies and makes that sound. So you'll see here's a diagram of what the installation of the belt looked like back before the 99 removal. And you can see it's clearly drawn here. And then here's another image of kind of the transition period, I think. You can see it says it's optional. It's only in specific models that idler pulley exists. And then after that, it was just removed entirely. So don't know why they moved it, but that's kind of the goal of this, is to re-add the that tensioner pulley, or not tensioner pulley, the idler pulley back on to the engine block. So again, a big shout out to Bullet6283 for tracking down these part numbers and these images and pictures to help us out. The model number to be looking for is, and I'll put this down in the description again down below, but the pulley we're looking for is 1L2Z8678AD. And that is also known as the YS385 pulley. Some people have also had success with the model number ending in AB, which is the YS253. Now, that one I think has it's a slightly wider or slightly skinnier or something. It might work for you. I don't think it's exactly the right one. I think it's an outdated version of the same thing, but you can look for that one. Do not use the YS250, the model number ending in AA. That one is not the right one to use, but it did come up in some of the searches, so be aware of that one. The bolt that we're going to be using to actually put this pulley in place is the N808102-5437, I think. Again, I'll put these down below to be sharp, but it might be an S437, I don't remember. And what we're going to do is drop a Blue Loctite on it and torque it down to 18 foot-pounds of torque to lock it in place. Now, it's a little bit complicated getting access to it because it is down here, but theoretically it only takes about 10 minutes. You don't have to remove the belt first, and you can just kind of push it, bolt it on without removing any extra hardware. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to give it a try. I think I have a shot where you can at least see what we're going after here, which is, there's the belt, and you can see the mounting boss right beside it. So that's what we're going for. What we have here, this is the pulley itself. Again, YS385, and the long number is 1L2Z8678AD. AD was the right one to go with here. And there's the pulley. Then we have the bolts. We're only going to need one of these, but they come in a 2-pack. So there's the part number again for this N808102S437 bolts. What we're going to put on those bolts is Loctite Thread Locker Blue, and then we're going to tighten it down. I have a 1/2 inch socket here, then I'll get the torque wrench out. We'll see, that's going to be fun to try to get torque wrench down there, but tightening it down with this initially and then torquing it to 18 foot-pounds. This is going to go in this direction, the hollow stuff against the engine, and that will hold it in place. Alright, so what I'm going to do is take the pulley here and very carefully try to fish my arm through. Skinny arms help. We're going to fish through right down here along beside the dipstick, and I'm just going to try to just lock it in first and then worry about the bolt. Hopefully it'll hold itself there while I get the bolt ready. Let's see. Sweet. That was easy enough. Let's take a look. So now you can see the idler pulley is there. Obviously you don't want to turn the engine on right now. It's going to spin right off and go everywhere, but you can see it's holding itself in place. All I had to do was just push a little bit, just using the pulley, push the belt out of the way, and then lock it in. Again, this is a Loctite Blue. Do not want to use Loctite Red, just in case you ever need to get this off. Okay. And now we'll just fish down there and get that in. Alright, we've got the bolt in place. It's not tightened down at all right now, so I'm actually going to go, we'll give this just a couple runs with the little guy. We do not want to over torque this because it's straight into the engine block there. We don't want to strip that out. That will make this project a lot more complicated. So I'm just gonna snug it up a little bit with this little ratchet, and then I'll get the torque wrench out. There it goes. Okay, now it's going to be the challenge getting the torque wrench in there. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. Alright, so this is definitely going to be the hardest part of the process, primarily because the only torque wrench that I have readily available is this beast. The smaller one that I do have is not able to get up to 18 foot-pounds, so this one it is. If I had a medium-sized one, that would be super useful, and or if I even had one that was the right size for my socket, so I didn't have to do these extra adapters, that would make it easier. But anyway, we're going to find a way to get this all the way down to there, and so we can put some torque on it. So I'm going to make sure this is set right before I dive in. 18 is right there, 18 foot-pounds. All right, let's see what we can do. I managed to squeeze it in. You have to make sure that the radiator fan blades are on either side of where you're going. Not sure if you're going to be able to see that. Probably not. Yeah, so you need the radiator fan blades on either side of this bolt. And then make sure you put the handle of it underneath this hose here. Or not really hose, the pipe. So make sure you're not bending anything. So I just kind of fished it down there, got it laying in there. It's going to be rubbing up against some stuff, but I should be able to use this to get the torque that I need. Alright, it took a lot of coaxing, but I did finally get a torque wrench click out of it, and the way I ended up routing this, this giant torque wrench in here was to fish it behind this hose here. You can see it's kind of rubbing up against it, so while I'm tightening it down, I just pull that off to the side. And then, like I mentioned earlier, underneath this pipe here, oh man, focus, come on. So you got to be underneath that pipe, and then there's just enough room between this motor or solenoid or whatever's down there to pull the torque wrench down in between the that motor and whatever's over beside it. So one click at a time. There's just enough play, just enough range of motion in there to make it work. But one click at a time, managed to get that torque down to 18 foot-pounds. So mission accomplished. I think we're done. I'm not going to do an after photo or an after video because all you're going to see is just that wheel spinning. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this helped, and thanks again to the two contributors I mentioned earlier for figuring this stuff out. So, thanks guys, bye.